Call the meeting to order. I ask you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Tonight's consent agenda consists of the following items. Item A, Resolution R-23-29, Emergency Outdoor Watering Restrictions. Adopt resolution affirming emergency outdoor watering restrictions in the city of Winston until further notice. Item B, authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to execute an agreement with Safe Assure Consultants Incorporated to provide a safety program for the city of Winston in the amount of $3,702.19. Item C, authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign a mortgage release document against property in Wright County owned by Richard T. Borrell as referenced in document number A-100 327-3217, Office of the County Recorder, and said document will be prepared by the city's attorney with all legal fees associated with the mortgage release subject to be paid for by Richard T. Borrell. Item D, adopt resolution R-23-30, establishing regulations related to the counting of write-in votes cast during an election. Item E, adopt resolution R-23-31, accepting a donation in memory of Mary Jo Kopesky to be dedicated to the Winston Police Department Capital Improvement Fund. Item F, adopt resolution R-23-32, accepting a donation in memory of Mary Jo Kopesky to be dedicated to the Winston Volunteer Fire Department Capital Improvement Fund. Item G, authorize the Stay Active and Independent for Life sale program to conduct classes at no charge in the Volmer Room at Winston City Hall up to 2 times per day on Monday and Friday mornings, with the exception of holidays and other dates City Hall is closed to the public. Item H, approve the pledged securities that Security Bank and Trust Company has purchased for the City of Winston for the month of July 2023. Item I, approve the building permit report for the month of July 2023. Item J, approve the financial report for the month of June 2023. And item K, approve the claims list for August 15th, 2023. That's the consent agenda. Looking for a motion.
You have a question?
I have a question, if I may. Item number C, could we get a little explanation on that?
That's Dick Burrow one.
Correct.
Want to take that there?
I can try to.
Okay.
So, previously, where this had come from as part of, I'm not even sure, to be honest, of what the actual piece was, but I know it was part of his business at Five Star Direct, and they received some subsidies. Realistically, the time has gone past now that we could collect anything, and it's not that the city was out of anything, from what I understand, any dollars. The reason it's on the consent is because it was already done for his partner in that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Joey Raymer.
for in Joe Raymer's case. So now we have it on here for Dick. Wanted the same thing to remove that lien that would be against his property at this time.
So the city did subsidize Five Star, and
State did through
The
the
state.
city.
The state, yeah.
And Five Star didn't repay. If they would have repaid the funds to the city, they could have used that state money in the future. But it wasn't the city's money, it was a pass-through from the state
so it didn't cost the city anything.
rate. It
All right.
cost them future dollars that they could have had, but, and the amount was written off by our auditors based on the opinion from the bankruptcy opinion from the city attorney. So in the past, the city attorney's opinion was we don't have any recourse on this because of the timing.
Okay. I also have a question on item D. Is counting write-in votes a big deal? Do we count votes here?
Yes, that is a law change that will help us out. Yeah, yes, if there are certain races that have fictitious names listed, and if that race calls for a write-in, we have to count every Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse that's written in.
But is that done here or is it done on the county level?
That's done here also.
Oh,
Yep, both.
okay.
So because of this law change, that will actually help us on some of that counting at the end of the night.
Okay. Make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll have a second. I'll second, but I abstain from voting on item H.
We have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under old business, downtown street lighting project?
Yeah. So I just received my final bid, I guess, per se, tomorrow, or sorry, not tomorrow, last night for electrical. So that came in a little higher than the previous one, looking through your packets. So I believe that we've already approved, but I have to find the exact numbers because we already approved me to be able to go through and complete the purchases of the rest of the lighting as we had anticipated originally. We were able to get a quote that ended up coming sort of through Milliburns from Carlo, I'm going to mispronounce the name, but Lakman Singh Sales for $630 for the lights for a total of $20,790. The lights were previously at $699, so that was a good savings. It was recommended through somebody that is working closely with Milliburns, so we are good with that. And our original electrical bid that was with CR Electric will be the low bid. So looking at finding exact numbers for that one here, which I thought were in there, but we are at CR Electric, we'd be looking at no more than move and install. I apologize for the delay here. We did 33 poles. Oh, here it is. 33 poles at, I don't have the actual total on here for that one, but it is the exact same amount that we had originally thought that we were going to approve when I went out for bids. To give you a little bit of a lowdown here, I had sent this out to 7 different electricians and 4 different boring companies, and I received 1 boring company and 1 more electrical bid, with both CR Electric coming in at the the low number that we had talked about, considerably lower. So I believe our resolution before was to let me go ahead and purchase those without exceeding that $285,000.
Any comments or questions? Not like for any motions? Just an update?
Do we need a motion?
We don't have the bid price, so if they can motion to proceed with the lowest bid quote, and then we can bring that back to them.
You guys hear that?
I'll make a motion that we accept the lowest bid price for the electrical and other work needed for the downtown street lighting project.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under new business, vehicle purchase, Winston Volunteer Fire Department Brass Rig 1 replacement. Neil?
Okay, so as we mentioned in the work session, the fire department has budgeted $160,000 for a new grass rig replacing their 1988 pickup vehicle. They need this in order to basically fight fires in a more modern way. It is budgeted for, it's budgeted in 2024, and they have been able to piece it together, become the general contractor on this fire truck, and have really taken the extra step. So we're going to get a lot of bang for our buck in it. What we're looking for today is a motion to approve the purchase not to exceed $160,000 that was budgeted for the vehicle that will arrive in 2024.
And make a motion to authorize the city administrator and fire chief to initiate the purchase of a 2024 Ford F-350 crew cab chassis per state bid, along with corresponding equipment and components for the Winston Volunteer Fire Department to replace Grass Rig 1 for an amount not to exceed $160,000.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That brings us to the organization report. Tonight's the Winston Country Music Festival. Yep.
Nixman was supposed to do this, but he had to work. So, my name's Dave Danielson. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm co-chair right now with Ryan Ginnicksman for another year. Next year will be my last year, and Ryan will take over. Ginnicksman will take over as chairman of Winstock. This year was great. The weather cooperated. We thought we were going to get rained on Saturday, but it stayed dry and everybody was happy, and we had a real nice turnout. We had about 500 more people this year than last year, so it was about 17,400, and we sold 100 extra campsites, so we were at 4,100 campsites. So a lot of the people are staying, which keeps the drinking local. So it's nice that we can sell as many campsites as we have, so that works well. This year's headliners were Miranda Lampert. Enough said there. Cody Johnson was really good. Jordan Davis filled in right before Miranda, and then Gabby Barrett, Dylan Scott, and Jody Messina, and Diamond Rio and Blackhawk. Just amazing. A lot of the older acts had some of the best attendance and best crowd participation, so it was really nice to see, and we're gonna try to continue that at least for another year when I'm around. So we did have newer bands and people performing on our west stage that were a big hit. Thursday night was the Shaw Brothers and the Shaw Band, so we had great entertainment Thursday night with some of the local bands that have kept this area hopping for many years. We appreciate all the help we get from the community. We couldn't do it without community's help and all our volunteers and everybody that makes Winstock what it is. But we have a very good record. We got plenty of EMS, plenty of security, and we do like the fact that Winstock's always been known to be a friendly, safe place to come and have a good time. So we're going to continue that tradition. EMS, I mean, we had very, very few reports of any injuries at all. It was a good year all around. So we did make some changes this year. We added 40 feet to the big VIP tent, which helped shorten the lines and the waits for dinner time. So that worked out really well. The toilets were serviced by an additional company, so we had two companies actually working, and the mini biffs were so much better than the year before. We had some major issues last year, and they took care of them, so that's the main part. So we expanded the standing room only areas, which cut down on a lot of friction, because before, when we just were doing seating and no areas for standing, people would at the end, just walk right in front of somebody that's been sitting there all day and just said, hey, I bought a general admission ticket too. Tough, you know, and that caused a few little scrimmages, but nothing major, was it, Chief? So, but now with the standing room only, it's really working well. We're finding that a lot of those problems just disappeared by giving them a place to stand, and people could even say, just go stand over there. So, worked out well. There my goes. We had a selfie contest, which we have a big old rooster now made out of steel, and a few other stations where people took pictures to promote Windstock, so that went well. Like I said, leadership changes. I'll be working with Ryan Gettingsman as a co-chair this next year, and Gary Marks, who's been buying our talent for us for the last, I don't know how many years. I don't know when he started, probably 50 years.
25.
Yeah, he's been doing a long time. He's been doing a great job. He's going to retire also at the end of next year. So we're currently in the checking out different people that do this for a living. So in the off season, we did have a recap. Kind of went through what went good, what went bad. We do have. We're looking at our front house. That's where the spotlights are sitting up on, and they do all their mixing down below. That was put up many years ago, and it's kind of overrun its time. So that might get installed yet this fall, next spring, or right after the event next year. But we're just now getting it designed, get some engineering on it, and make sure that we're doing it right. So, and just like our stage, I mean, Miranda Lampert brought so much stuff. We didn't even open up the back end of 2 semis because she thought she was going to put all this on the stage. And she's been here twice before, so it's not like she didn't know what we had, but we just said, we don't have room for that. And our stage at the time, it was state of the art. It was high enough, wide enough, everything was good. But I think we're just going to have to reiterate to their people that here's what you got. You're going to have to live within the box. So, and that might stop us from getting some of the bigger name acts, but quite honestly, they're to the point where you can't afford them anymore anyhow. Morgan Wallen, $2.5 million for an hour and a half. I mean, it's just crazy. So, but we enjoy that people are having fun, and they always seem to come back. We've had real good pre-sales again for next year, so we're going to do it again. So, and thanks for everybody, the community's help, the council's help. We really appreciate your support, and hopefully we can continue doing this to keep things happening. So
Two questions, Dave. Can you announce any of the entertainers for next year?
Not yet. They still are under. They still have some positions that they're playing.
Okay.
So.
And then I had some people asked if the walkway, the extended stage, was ever coming back.
Probably not. And
Okay.
especially this year, one of the big things have been brought up that people have gotten thrown at, entertainers. So a lot of the people that we're talking to before they even signed the contract, they talked to us about the, what do you do to stop that from happening? Because we actually got to the point now where we're just using canned beer. Kegs are getting to be obsolete. You can't even hardly get them anymore, and the prices have gone up accordingly. So the canned beer is actually more beneficial, and it's easier to serve. I mean, we were able to serve so much more in the same amount of time with fewer people. So, so we've had to address that with them, and we just said, all I can say is the first areas are VIP, and most of these people have had those tickets from day one, and they're not gonna, if they get caught throwing something, they're gonna lose their tickets. I can guarantee you that will cause some issues. And that will stop anybody from even thinking about it. And we'll probably do an announcement before the show next year. But all the people, the agents and stuff seem to be fine with that. They've heard a lot of good things about Windstock in Nashville. And it sometimes benefits us, sometimes it doesn't. Last year, Tim McGraw wanted a trailer in the backstage, so we put a satellite trailer back there just for him for a hangout and stuff. And wouldn't you know, Miranda's contract had that in there, want trailer just like Tim McGraw had. So once you do something, you got to keep doing it. So, but I think overall the event has been very successful and did what we wanted it to accomplish. So next year's dates are June 14th and 15th. And like I said, we should have an announcement somewhere end of September, first part of October. We're still working on a few. And if they have contracts with, or if they still have shows to put on this year, we can't announce until after it comes. So
Were those cans recycled?
it would be nice.
They weren't.
No. No, we've tried it, and the people that take it in, and there's just always garbage gets put in there with the cans, no matter how you hard. If anybody comes up with a good idea, we'd be glad to.
Maybe you could also comment on how Winstock helps the Boy Scouts.
Yes, yeah, I mean, they take care of the ice to get it out to all the campers and stuff, and they get all the proceeds from it. So they get the ice at our cost, which is very reasonable, and they're able to make some money, and I think it's been a great program. And they also help us out. This year, the campers were fantastic. They cleaned up after themselves, but other years, we've had some real messes, and we called the Boy Scouts, and they've always been out there to help us. So, and if it wasn't for organizations helping us, I mean, the volunteers like me are getting older. So, and there's just less people coming up that want to work. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, we're seeing it at work every day, and all industry is, not just us. So, any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your support.
Thank you. We've come to the we've come to the open forum section of the meeting. If anybody has anything they want to address the council with, forward, state your name.
No.
Don't see anybody, so I have a question for you, Chief. Hear anything on the police car that we ordered a year and a half ago?
This goes against my better interest, but yes. We have received notification that they are assembling it. Not to jinx it, but yes, they are assembling our squad car, so.
I just wonder if the fire department will have the same issue with their fire they ordered tonight.
That I don't know, but I know trucks as far as squads are a lot easier to get than the SUVs. Agency just to the south of us recently purchased an SUV squad car from, I believe, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and they had K-Way bring it back. So there are some out there, it's just you have to find them to get them. So hopefully we'll be getting ours in the next month or two, I hope.
Good. Thank you. Now we've come to any announcements there, Neil?
Not a ton. I was just going to say I heard from Sarah Foshing of the Windsor Summer Festival, and she wanted to give a shout out to Public Works, saying they did a great job getting the park, helping get the park ready, and that they had a very successful weekend here. And then touching on the Winston Night Out, I don't know if you want to talk on that, Chief, at all, or?
Yeah, well attended. Appreciate it when they came. A lot of handouts, prizes.
And so we had a very successful week in our community, I would say. One other thing I want to touch on here quickly, just to go through, and because Raquel yelled at me, she wants us to do the formal motion on these numbers for the lighting project. So if we could, we would have a $20,790 to Carlo, and I'm just going to do them one at a time so we can remember them. So $20,790 to Carlo for the light fixtures.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to approve that.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of light fixtures from Carlo in the amount of $20,790.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And the next part of the project would be a motion for Anderson Boring Company at $85,770.
A motion, we approve Anderson Boring Company at $85,775 to complete the work in the street light project.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Now, the next one would be for $61,050 to CR Electric for pole removal and wiring and placement.
I'd make a motion to hire CR Electric to remove poles, and I'm sorry, I wasn't,
Wiring.
Wiring.
and wiring, to the tune of $61,050.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Anything else, Neil?
Anything else, Raquel?
No.
We've got her, I think.
Tom, you have anything?
I do not.
Yep.
I want to address something that happened at our last meeting. We had a state representative present it was my understanding, a legislative update. A couple of things got discussed that I don't think were quite accurate. The question was asked, did the state legislature mandate that feminine products be put in both boys' and girls' bathrooms? A friend of mine is a superintendent of schools in one of our districts here in Minnesota. Mandated fourth grade up feminine products in the ladies' bathrooms only. The other thing that was talked about was referendums no longer had to be re-looked at. So referendums, it's my understanding they can be anywhere from 1 to 15 years. And one time, the school board can elect to vote on it and not put it up for a city or district vote. But after, and so whatever period, if it's an 8-year, 10-year, 15-year, they have a one-time, if it was a 10-year referendum, they can move it forward another 10 years, but eventually it would have to get voted on. We were led to believe that it would never be voted on again, and that wasn't correct. And then to a broader opinion on this, that felt really partisan 2 weeks ago, and it was my hope that we would find out what the legislature did for us on a city level, and it really didn't get talked about. I would hope going forward that we would give that a little bit more consideration and maybe some guidance to whoever was talking to us to keep it nonpartisan and just to give us an update on what the state has done for us. So I'm off my soapbox. Thank you very much.
Yes?
Only thing I've really got to touch on is the project, I guess, in Shady Creek that Litza is wrapping up with. From where it started to where it is now is looking good. So,
Steve, you have anything?
I've got nothing.
Look for a motion to adjourn.
make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.